Incoming message. Incoming mission critical message.
department. Please comply with established docking procedures, Commander. Landing permitted. Set down on landing pad 16. Restrict speed to 100 meters per second.
Scan detected.
Access to docking facilities
Landing gear
requires
deployed.
flight control authorization. Please submit a request before entering the docking bay.
Touchdown confirmed. Docking restraints engaged.
In order to maintain smooth traffic flow, please follow standard operating procedures and request docking permission before entering the starport. We would like to welcome all pilots to this starport. Be sure to check station services for any updates and enjoy your stay. Welcome to all visitors. Please disembark at your assigned landing pad, and thank you for choosing this facility. Aggressive behavior in or around the starport is not permitted. We thank commanders for their cooperation.
Incoming message.
To keep docking bay traffic flowing smoothly.
all new arrivals to this facility
And wish a safe journey to all departures. This is a flight regulation announcement. Please proceed to
Manatee Megaship Initiative concludes. The Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment were delivered to Okrinox's orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. With the initiative at an end, Progenitor Selena Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. The people of Moonshin, and our partners at Moonshin Manatee Meat, extend the warmest of thanks to all pilots who supported our project. Increased production of manatee meat will give a much-needed boost to the Moonshin system's economy. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Okrinox's orbiter, in the Moonshin system. Appeal for computing commodities. Two rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Scorpio Devoro, CEO of Supertech, issued the following statement. The talk is the latest in personal computing, featuring state-of-the-art holographic technology. Anyone who wants to benefit from the next generation in wearable hardware should support its development. Meanwhile, Maddox Hurd, head of Herculean Machines, had this to say. The Jura drive cannot be rivaled for power or customizability. What people need in this challenging age is a robust product, not some ephemeral toy that malfunctions when exposed to a stiff breeze. To bring their products to market, both companies have placed open orders for commodities. Supertech requires conductive fabrics, robotics and microcontrollers, while Herculean Machines has asked for consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors and computer components. Pilots wishing to support Supertech should deliver commodities to Roberts Port in the FedMix system, while pilots wishing to support Herculean Machines should deliver commodities to Cowper Dock in the Anima system. The campaigns begin on the 20th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If either party achieves its aims earlier than planned, both campaigns will end immediately. Robot exposes corporate fraud. Business magnate, Lloyd Hardacre, has been arrested for corporate fraud, after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident occurred at Burnell Station during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, an interplanetary haulage firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. One witness, a company shareholder, told reporters, halfway through Hardacre's financial presentation, we saw off-the-books logs that were very obviously illegal. Hardacre ordered the robot to stop, but it continued projecting data from its internal drives. Eventually he ran from the hall in panic. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne, of the Federal Security Service, made this statement. We have placed Mr. Hardacre in custody while we verify multiple instances of fraud and misuse of company funds. We are also investigating how his personal admin robot managed to obtain such information, and why it chose to make the data public at this time. Historical sculptures stolen. A collection of historically significant artworks has been stolen from the Imperial Museum of Culture on EOTNC's A3. A local media report stated, the museum's most popular exhibit is the New Dawn collection, a sequence of sculptures by legendary artist Lal Kandromir. These figures date back nearly 1,000 years and commemorate the early settlers of EOTNC agreeing to join the Empire. This morning, visitors found the entire exhibit empty, with every single one of the Kandromir statues gone. Painted onto the wall was a graphic of a winking cat. The museum cannot explain how its security systems were so completely circumvented. Captain Madakivander, of the Imperial Internal Security Service, commented, we are performing forensic analysis and interviewing all staff and visitors. As yet, we cannot confirm any connection between this theft and one that occurred 3 months ago in the Alioth system, despite the identical winking cat motif. We will make every effort to capture this criminal and recover these precious cultural artifacts. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Alexandria Dock, Shinab. Rondalm Bear Lab, HIP 88595. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Black Station, Laosang. Pook Dock, HIP 35873. Somerset Station, Icarana. Besta Terminal, Gennik. Burton Vision, Demo Corner. Couchy Dock, Dekt. Klink Dock, Inmino. Seminus Hub, Newark. St. Clair Colony, Sankangu. Asimov Landing, LHS 2441. Mooches Platform, Deacon's Star. Smith Landing, Amber. Descartes Terminal, Nukwang. Rennie Hub, Kupol Boomba. Winkfist Terminal, NLTT 57216. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source disclosed that Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to criminal networks when establishing his company. In the wake of the news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors have withdrawn their support. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced: Fazia Silva, a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system, and Elijah Beck, an experienced politician from Leasty. It is understood that all three candidates, Kincaid, Silva and Beck, are roughly equal in terms of popular support. Meanwhile, Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Thargoid cult to be executed. Some federal congressmen have aligned with Mrs. Bishop, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids, but others have criticized her for her inhumane rhetoric. In other news, Ramtar has revealed more about the XG project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. In an interview, the engineer revealed that he had been trying to combine human and Guardian technology since the first Guardian ruins were discovered. He closed the interview by expressing hope that the XG project was the start of a new era of technological development. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for various commodities. Finally, the Alioth Independents have announced that their appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Heike tea, and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host a special gala event. And those are the main stories this week. Candidates for Alliance presidency announced. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll shared the news in the Alliance Tribune. The candidates running against President Gibson Kincaid, who is seeking a second term, have now launched their campaigns. Fazia Silva is a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system. Although lacking political experience, she intends to leverage her business acumen to increase trade and boost economies throughout the Alliance. She has delegated control of her corporate empire to her sister, freeing her to run for office. Elijah Beck, by contrast, is a highly experienced politician. Hailing from the Leasty system, he has served in the Assembly for over 4 decades. He is generally considered a safe pair of hands, but it's unlikely that he would bring about any significant changes as president. Recent polls suggest that Kincaid, Silva and Beck are roughly equal in terms of popular support, but it's still early days. All three will vigorously campaign for support in the coming weeks, in advance of the public vote on Tuesday the 16th of October. Investors abandon Herculean Machines. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source shared recently declassified FSS records on the Rewired News channel, and stated, When establishing Herculean 5 years ago, Maddox had accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to organized crime networks, such as the Red Family. While Hurd did not technically break the law, the FSS has kept a close eye on him ever since. In the wake of this news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors withdrew their support. Maddox Hurd told the media, "This is a smear campaign, and those underhanded snakes at Supertech are behind it." Scorpio Devarro, CEO of rival company Supertech, declined to comment, but Harlow Nasri, technology journalist at the Federal Times, observed, "With Herculean Machines losing investment and Supertech's facility destroyed, both companies are in a compromised position. Unless they can drum up additional support, neither will be able to unveil their new designs at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October." Alliance Gala Initiative concludes. The Alioth Independence has announced that its appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Hikiti and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host their gala event. With the initiative at an end, Jurian Ballas, chairman of the Alioth Independence, issued the following statement. "This will be an event like no other, and we are proud to be introducing Fazia Silva and Elijah Beck to the galactic stage. Along with Gibson Kincaid, I'm sure they will soon do battle in a good-natured yet robust election campaign." Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their awards from Smith Landing, in the Amber system. Manatee Megaship Initiative. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier Moonshine Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. Progenitor Selena Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. "For years, the people of Moonshine have been lucky enough to dine on the finest meat in the galaxy. We are proud to be working in association with Moonshine Manatee Meat to help bring their product to a much wider consumer base. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment. It promises to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Ochrinox's orbiter, in the Moonshine system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 13th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Calls to execute Far God worshippers. Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Far God cult to be executed. Addressing a rally during her congressional campaign, Mrs. Bishop stated, "I speak for all those who live in fear of Thargoid infiltration. If elected, I will make sure this foul cult is outlawed and all its followers put to death. Congress has a duty to protect families from these alien-loving collaborators." Vihan Nevan, an independent political analyst, commented, "Juanita Bishop's statement has triggered considerable debate in Congress. Some congressmen have aligned with her, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids. But others have criticized Mrs. Bishop for her inhumane rhetoric and for proposing the execution of federal citizens without trial." Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency continues to arrest adherents of the Far God sect and detain those who have had contact with them. As casualties from the Thargoid conflict mount, it's hard to see this most unlikely of faiths surviving much longer. The XG Project. In an interview with independent media outlet Vox Galactica, engineer Antar has discussed the XG Project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. "Ever since the first Guardian ruins were discovered, I've been trying to combine their technology with our own. I drew up a blueprint for the original fighter, the XG-1, before inviting other technicians to refine the design with a view to producing something commercially viable. The seventh iteration, the XG-7, successfully merged human and Guardian ingenuity. The XG-8 Javelin and XG-9 Lance soon followed." When asked what the future holds, Ramtar remarked, "My hope is that the XG Project is merely the start of a whole new era of technological development. While the current focus is the Thargoid threat, The achievements of our galactic forebears might one day improve every aspect of society. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of president to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. The vote will take place in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All personnel managed to escape the blaze, but the fire has ruined the company's main production complex. Company CEO, Scorpio Devorro, expressed incredulity at the failure of the facility's fire suppression system. Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Fargod cult. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further empty Fargod hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. The Gnosis, flagship of the Canon Interstellar Research Group, has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. A message from the ship's command crew confirmed that the incident caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the U.STI D96 system. In other news, the Mars Tribune has revealed that actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been having an extramarital affair with Olympian athlete Reagan Lord. Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Finally, a public appeal for Thargoid materials from the Fargod sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of the organizing faction, said the success of the initiative was a victory for religious freedom. And those are the main stories this week. Fire destroys Supertech facility. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All on-site personnel managed to escape the blaze without injury. Emergency crews were soon in attendance, but were unable to prevent the fire from swiftly consuming the facility. Supertech CEO Scorpio Devorro made this statement. "I regret to announce that the fire has ruined our main production complex. Dozens of prototype torque units were also irreparably damaged. This is a severe setback in the development of our new design. Investigators have been unable to pinpoint the cause of the blaze, or to explain why the fire suppression system in our state-of-the-art complex malfunctions so completely, along with the security cameras, internal alarms and thermal sensors." Maddox Hurd, head of rival company Herculean Machines, commented, "I'm glad to hear that everyone made it out okay. But I have to say, if Supertech's facilities are that poorly designed, I'd hate to imagine what their products are like." Both companies are due to unveil new personal computing devices at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October, although it is now unclear if Supertech will take part in the trade show. Thargoid sympathizer arrests increase. The Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Fargod cult. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo, who first raised awareness of doomsayer cults in the core systems, has been reported missing and is assumed to have been arrested. Many others who were researching the Fargod sect remain in custody, including leading exotheologian Dr. Alfred Alianov. The FIA has also shut down the Galactic Interfaith Commune and apprehended its spokesperson, Dr. Jamie Le Griffin. Several similar organizations, including the Spiritual Freedom Movement, have been closed down. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further empty Fargod hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. In an effort to uncover clues, arrests of associates and family members of Fargod worshippers has intensified. Senior Agent Micah Whitefield gave a brief statement. "We will leave no stone unturned in our mission to identify Thargoid influences. The disappearance of Fargod chapters is clearly a coordinated operation of either human or alien design. We warn anyone who may be harboring cult members that they are impeding a federal investigation, and will face criminal charges." Fargod campaign concludes. LHS-2541 Alliance Combine has announced that its request for Thargoid materials for the Far God sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the campaign by delivering commodities to Wheelock Ring in the Zavicha system, and by eliminating agitators in Zavicha, thereby ensuring the safety of traders contributing to the initiative. Chancellor Morgan Tanner, speaking on behalf.
Detach confirmed. You are clear to leave.
LHS-2541 Alliance Combine released the following statement. We would like to thank those pilots who delivered Thargoid materials, thus contributing to the furtherance of religious freedom throughout the galaxy. At this point we would also like to address rumors that the Far sect is experimenting on willing test subjects in the hopes of ascending to a higher form of life. We assert, in the strongest of terms, that this is baseless gossip. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Wheelock Ring, in the Zavicha
Frameshield drive charging.
Alliance Presidential Gala. The Alioth Independence has announced plans to host a gala event in the Alioth system, to officially begin the Alliance presidential election. The event will give the as-yet unannounced presidential candidates an opportunity to meet distinguished figures from among the upper echelons of Alliance society. Jurian Ballas, chairman of Alioth Independence, issued the following statement. Everyone's heard of President Gibson Kincaid, but the other candidates may not be so well known. This will be their chance to shine. As well as hosting key members of the Alliance Assembly, we can also confirm that Prime Minister Redmond Mahone and 3 members of the Council of Admirals will be in attendance. To make this a truly spectacular event, the Alioth Independents have placed an open order for Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Haiki tea and live Hikatesi worms, promising to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Smith Landing, in the Amber System. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material to the campaign can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 6th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Assembly to vote on proposed changes. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to hold an internal vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of President to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone told the media. After much discussion, the Assembly has agreed to vote on President Kincaid's proposals in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. We will announce any amendments to the Constitution shortly afterwards. Milo Vesper, editor of the Alliance Tribune, discussed this development. President Kincaid's proposals are seen by some as a long overdue restructure of the political system. Compared to the current bureaucratic procedure, having a single person make all executive decisions has an obvious appeal. But some in the Assembly are concerned that such changes could imbue the President with emperor-like levels of authority. Prime Minister Mahone is playing down such fears, but the words constitutional crisis have already been heard in Parliament. Whatever happens, this could be the most significant election in the Alliance's history. Gnosis stranded. A scientific research vessel has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. The Gnosis, flagship of the Canon Interstellar Research Group, recently made a hyperspace jump towards the Cone Sector, FNJ, B90 system. A short time later, the following message was received from Captain Matthias Leander of the Gnosis command crew. We were a short way into our journey when the Gnosis was hyperdicted by a group of Thargoid vessels. The wrench back into real space caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. There's no doubt that we would have been destroyed if not for some of the commanders traveling with us. They lured the Thargoids away while ejecting meta-alloys from their holds. The aliens were more interested in scooping up the meta-alloys than attacking us. The commanders later reported that the Thargoid vessels were the recently identified Hydra interceptors. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the UDOT's STI, D96 system. We have begun essential repairs, but there is a risk that the Thargoids may return before we can escape the system. Scandal hits Rochester family. The famous actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been revealed to be having an extramarital affair with an Olympian athlete. An article in the Mars Tribune stated, "For the last 3 years, Thomas Turai has conducted a secret relationship with Reagan Lord, who has won several Olympic gold medals for the Altair system. Their romantic liaison took place without the knowledge of Turai's husband, Jupiter Rochester, or their 2 children. There has been no response from Jupiter Rochester. The Rochester family is currently in a media lockdown following the cancelled wedding of Ambassador Jordan Rochester and Princess Aisling Duval. But Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Mars Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will personally cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Lana Sigrid, chief editor of the Mars Tribune, published this comment: "We have an obligation to publish the truth wherever we find it. The detailed evidence we've obtained about Thomas Turai's behavior is beyond dispute. We employ the finest journalists in the Federation, and our soaring subscription figures prove we've earned the public's trust." Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Abeti Platform, Ross 1051, George Lucas, Leasty, Napier Station, HIP 94863, Tashaviano Dock, Happets, Cinesallo Holdings, HIP 19305, Thirsk Enterprise, Modded. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Alexandria Dock, Shinab, Alexeyev Hub, HIP 36485, Extra Refinery, Azrael, Matheson Prospect, 45 Tori, Rondalm Bear Lab, HIP 88595, Wheelock Ring, Zavisha. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Independent pilots have engaged a previously unseen type of Thargoid vessel in both the Pleiades Nebula and the core systems. Admiral Aidan Tanner, Aegis's chief military liaison, confirmed that the new ship, classified as the Hydra, is a variant of the Thargoid Interceptor. Federal President Zachary Hudson has announced that Aegis Core is to relocate from Socho to the Federal Home System of Seoul. The move is a response to the criminal occupation of the Socho system, which led to the temporary immobilization of Aegis's Eagle Eye network, a system of orbital installations designed to determine potential Thargoid attack sites. Engineer Ramtar has detected unusual energy signatures in the NGC 2451A sector, the IC2391 sector and the Sinuefi NH region. While the precise nature of the signals is unclear, Ramtar has encouraged independent pilots to investigate. In other news, the Colonia Council has announced that 4 engineers have established bases in the Colonia region to provide services to independent pilots. According to a statement, the Council consulted with engineers in the core systems to identify individuals who could offer similar services in Colonia. The date of Princess Aisling Duval's wedding to Federal Ambassador Jordan Rochester has passed without comment from either party. While Emperor Arissa and President Hudson are thought to be pleased with the cancellation of the wedding, the silence from Aisling Duval and Jordan Rochester leaves questions about the legitimacy of their relationship unanswered. Maddox Hurd, owner of Herculean Machines, has publicly dismissed the efforts of rival company Supertech. Mr. Hurd denounced the idea of wearable devices as ridiculous, prompting Supertech CEO Scorpio Devoro to describe him as a man of limited imagination. Meanwhile, Alliance President Gibson Kincaid has begun lobbying to invest the position of president with executive powers. He has also said that the incumbent should remain in office for 6 years, instead of a maximum of 2 one-year terms. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone has voiced his opposition to the proposal. Juanita Bishop, a leading campaigner against the Thargoid cult, has announced that she is running for federal Congress. Mrs. Bishop's vocal condemnation of Thargoid worship has gained her a strong following in many federal systems. She is now campaigning to be elected to Congress as an independent candidate. In related news, the Thargoid sect has issued a public request for Thargoid materials. It is understood that the objects will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used in any xenobiological experiments. Finally, authorities in the Battle system have confirmed that the conflict between Battle-Free and the Silver Creative Network has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised, but ultimately there could be only one victor. It is hoped that the cessation of hostilities will preface a period of peace. And those are the main stories this week. Alliance President proposes changes. Alliance President Gibson Kincaid has confirmed he will campaign for re-election in October. Addressing the media, President Kincaid also said he wanted to make significant changes to the Alliance Constitution. The role of Alliance President is largely ceremonial. I believe that should change. I have been lobbying to invest the position with executive powers, over and above the Prime Minister and the Assembly. By streamlining our bureaucracy, we can make decisions as efficiently as the other superpowers. I also believe that each presidential incumbent should remain in office for 6 years, instead of a maximum of 2 one-year terms. That will allow time to renegotiate diplomatic relationships and correct past mistakes. Gibson Kincaid was the governor of the Zaanse system before assuming the presidency in 3303. He has repeatedly claimed that the alliance is failing to fulfill its true potential. Prime Minister Edmund Mahone responded, "Our constitution has served us well for decades and I see no reason to amend it. Its system of checks and balances exists to prevent any individual from becoming too powerful and destabilizing the alliance. The other presidential candidates will be announced within the next 2 weeks." Computer designers' rivalry escalates. Maddox Hurd, owner of Herculean Machines, has publicly dismissed the efforts of rival company Supertech. Both companies are currently developing new computer designs. Mr. Hurd referred directly to Supertech's forthcoming product, the Talk, while addressing the media. "There's a reason Herculean has never explored the concept of wearable devices. It's a ridiculous idea. I bet $1 million credits that those fragile gizmos will break, or their holograms will start glitching, the moment you turn them on. If you want a reliable piece of tech, you need the Jura drive. Believe me, our device will keep on working whatever you throw at it, and even if you throw it." When invited to comment, Supertech CEO Devorah responded, "It's regrettable that those with a clear vision of the future are often denigrated by individuals of limited imagination. We offer an elegant and revolutionary approach to personal computing, not just a rubber brick with a screen. I'm sure customers will make the intelligent choice." Prototypes for both the Talk and the Jura drive will be unveiled at the Rackham Ultratech Expo on Wednesday the 3rd of October. Thargoid Campaign. The Thargoid worshipping sect that reveres an entity known as the Thargoid, has issued a request for Thargoid materials. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of LHS 2541 Alliance Combine, which is supporting the campaign, released the following statement. To maintain their privacy and avoid further persecution, members of the Thargoid sect have approached us to facilitate the collection of Thargoid materials. They have made it explicit that these materials will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used as part of any xenobiological experiments. In the interests of religious freedom, we have decided to fulfill their request. In support of this campaign, LHS 2541 Alliance Combine has placed an open order for various Thargoid materials, and has promised to reward pilots who deliver these goods to Wheelock Ring and the Zavitra system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering commodities to Wheelock Ring can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 30th of August 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Conflict in Battle ends. Authorities in the Battle system have confirmed that the conflict between the Silver Creative Network and Battle-Free has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised, but ultimately there could be only one victor. General Hollis of Battle Security had this to say, "Now this feud has been resolved, we will hopefully see a period of prolonged peace in the system. Pilots who participated in the conflict can now collect their rewards from Ampapolis in the Battle system." Juanita Bishop runs for Congress. Juanita Bishop, a leading campaigner against the Thargoid cult, has announced that she is running for federal Congress. Mrs. Bishop's vocal condemnation of Thargoid worship has gained her a strong following in many federal systems. She is now campaigning to be elected to Congress as an independent candidate. At a rally protesting against the Far God sect, Mrs. Bishop addressed the crowd. I may lack political experience, but I care about protecting decent families from alien-loving deviants. If you elect me to Congress, I will make sure our leaders rid us of the Thargoid spies undermining our great federation. Dr. Jamila Griffin, of the Galactic Interfaith Commune, made this response. Juanita Bishop is building her power base on the fear and paranoia that she herself has invoked. As has happened before, an innocent religion is being used as a scapegoat for society's ills. We should be more concerned about the fact that Far God chapters are continuing to vanish without trace. If they are under threat, it is our duty to offer protection. These people are not aliens but citizens with legal rights, despite Bishop's efforts to dehumanize them. Aegis Corps relocates to Seoul. In May, a criminal organization known as the Socho Gold Raiders assumed control of the Socho system, headquarters of Aegis Corps. Since then the system has descended further into chaos, culminating in the loss of services at Dantec Enterprise due to Thargoid sensor-related interference. This in turn led to the temporary immobilization of Aegis's Eagle Eye network, a system of orbital installations designed to determine potential Thargoid attack sites. In the wake of this calamity, Federal President Zachary Hudson has announced that Aegis Corps is to relocate from Socho to the Federal Home System of Seoul. In a statement broadcast directly from the White House on Mars, Hudson said, "Recent events in Socho have taught us that no matter the scale of the Thargoid threat, there will always be those more interested in fighting their fellow man than engaging the enemy. Let me be clear, we are at war. The weakening of our defenses cannot be tolerated. I have therefore agreed that Aegis Corps will relocate to the Seoul system, where it can be properly protected. Aegis has been charged with defending humanity, and any attempt to undermine it is nothing less than an act of treason." New Thargoid interceptor encountered. Independent pilots have reported engaging a previously unseen type of Thargoid vessel. The Pilots Federation confirmed that several of its members have encountered the ship in both the Pleiades Nebula and the core systems. Commander Jingsheng Mendez gave this account. "My wingmate and I were both hyperdicted while traveling through the Pleiades. We assumed that together we could handle a single Thargoid ship, but this one really soaked up our firepower. I managed to get away, but Leone didn't make it. I've already started retooling my crate with the X-weapons. I want to head back out there and get some payback." Admiral Aidan Tanner, Aegis's chief military liaison, made this statement. "We can confirm that this new ship, classified as the Hydra, is a variant of the Thargoid Interceptor. It is structurally stronger than the Cyclops, Basilisk or Medusa, and releases a larger swarm of Thargon drones." In response to this development, the Pilots Federation has sealed off the Cone Sector FNJ B90 system, which is believed to contain high concentrations of Hydra interceptors. Despite this, it is understood that the Gnosis, flagship of the Cannon Interstellar Research Group, will attempt to complete its scheduled jump into the now permit-locked system. The silence of Aisling Duval. The date of Princess Aisling Duval's wedding to Federal Ambassador Jordan Rochester has passed without comment from either party. Entertainment journalist Solomon Helios discussed the situation. Public reaction to the cancelled wedding has ranged from outrage to delight. Jasmina Halsey expressed regret at a lost opportunity for long-term peace, while Senator Zemina Torval called it the mercy killing of a catastrophically bad idea. With no word from the Imperial Palace or the White House, it's easy to imagine both Emperor Marissa and President Hudson breathing sighs of relief. But the silence from Aisling Duval and Jordan Rochester rings loudest. What might they be feeling? Was their relationship terminated against their wishes? Did it ever really exist? Naturally, I invited the princess to tell her story, but her previous openness is apparently a thing of the past. The Rochester family is also shying away from the media. Yal Torito, whose alleged affair with Aisling apparently derailed their marriage, has vanished from public sight. Was this a tragic love triangle, or just a political chess game? We may never know. But what's certain is that before long, Aisling Duval will put these failures behind her and be back in the spotlight where she belongs. Unusual energy signatures detected. 3 recently detected energy signatures have been confirmed to be of a similar nature. The engineer Amtar made a statement to the media. As part of my research, I regularly review data from surveillance satellites and ships that have picked up atypical signals. Although most turn out to be of no consequence, on this occasion I have identified 3 energy signatures that I believe warrant further investigation. The signals originate from the NGC 2451A sector, the IC 2391 sector, and the Simu FENH region. I have no further data, and at this time the signature's meaning remains a mystery. I encourage any independent pilots operating in these regions to investigate. I do of course apologize if this turns out to be a pointless exercise, but in the pursuit of scientific knowledge, even the smallest opportunity must be explored. Engineers established in Colonia. The Colonia Council has announced that 4 engineers have established bases in the Colonia region to provide services to independent pilots. Councillor Giselle Kingspear gave a statement to the media. The Council believes it has a duty to support those who contribute so much to the region's stability. That's why we have consulted with engineers in the core systems to identify individuals who could offer similar services here in Colonia. Consequently, we now have 4 engineers at planetary bases in the region. Mel Brandon is based in Lutane, and specializes in laser-based armaments, shields, engines and frame shift drives. Etienne Dawn in the Lost System, once lead engineer for Kraken Shield Specialists, is an expert on sensors, scanners and high-energy weaponry, among other things. Petra Ulmanova is in the Asura system, and works with ship armor, countermeasures and explosive weapons, and Marsha Hicks, in the Tier system, offers upgrades in ballistic weaponry, fuel scoops, refineries and limpids. These engineers represent an important stage in Colonia's continued growth. The Council hopes that pilots operating in the region will find them beneficial. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Crown Plant, Mudra Makazi. Crown Terminal, LHS 355. Fort Lawrence, Exiosi. Foxbase, Paya. Fraknoi Holdings, Paya. Gautier de Varens Folly, HIP 13269. Grimwood Ring, HIP 94863. McLeod Hub, Nornan. McAllister Port, HR 6680. Parmit Anno Terminal, Nuturi. Thirsk Enterprise, Monted. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. George Lucas, Leasty. Somerset Station, Icarene. Napier Station, HIP 94863. Ready Gateway, Korovi. Abeti Platform, Ross 1051. Week in Review. Here are the...
Incoming mission critical message. Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Incoming mission critical message.